Today, I finished the texturing of the whole character. I'm really happy to say that the texturing of both the character and the weapon is now fully done. At this point, you could already put this character into your portfolio even without a pose, but I still want to rig and pose him for a stronger final presentation. What I worked on today was mainly the final polish on the weapon. First, I checked the roughness channel from the top right drop-down menu, and noticed that the roughness of the blade body and the blade edges looked too similar. You can usually understand that by looking at how dark or bright those areas are in the roughness view, so I reduced the roughness on the edges to make them feel shinier. I also removed some of the grunge texture from the blade edges, because it made more sense for those parts to stay cleaner and sharper since this weapon is meant for combat. Then I moved on to the darker piece in the middle of the weapon. I added a fill layer with a black mask and started with an ambient occlusion layer. Don't forget to toggle the correct invert option to get the effect you want. After that, I added some edge damage with a curvature layer and used height information to push the detail further. One important thing here is not to make the height values too extreme. It might look good inside Substance Painter, but in other engines like Marmoset or Unreal, it can start to look strange very quickly. I also removed some of the detail from the straighter edges. Again, it's important to think about which places those details actually make sense. Just because something is easy to add does not mean it needs to be everywhere on the model. Then I added the small emissive piece to that area. One important thing to remember is that if you want something to glow properly, make sure the base color is set to black, then enable the emissive channel and choose the color there. If the base color is not black, you can get some unwanted results. After that, I added some decal detail to the main blade. These kinds of details are very easy to add, so I recommend doing them near the end of the texturing process, when you already have a better feel for what the surface needs. I used a triangle alpha and the text brush to write the company or brand name of the weapon, and I also added some height information. That one detail alone made the weapon feel much cooler and gave it more story. Then I added more decals across the other weapon parts using the same method inside another folder. Finally, I added a paint layer to darken the inside of one of the pieces and carved in a line detail using a hard round brush. A useful tip here is that you can click once, hold shift, and click again to make a perfectly straight line in Substance Painter. You can also erase it the same way by pressing X and using shift again. And with that, the full texturing of the character in the weapon is finally done. In the next video, I'll start rigging the character in Blender, so if you want to learn how to do that, stay tuned. Thanks for watching.